Leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in our charge. And the very responsibility of a leader is not to drive performance. Leaders are not responsible for the results. Leaders are responsible for the people who are responsible for the results. And the problem is we don't teach people how to lead, right? When you're very, very junior, we give people tons of training how to do their jobs. Some people get advanced degrees how to do their jobs so that they'll be good at them. And if you're really good at your job, we'll promote you. And eventually you get promoted to a position where you're now responsible for the people who do the job you used to do, and we don't teach you how to do that. So how can we expect people to be good at their jobs if we don't train them how to do it? Like, would you go see a doctor that didn't go to medical school? No. So why would we work for a leader who has no training in being a leader? That's why we get managers. That's why we get micromanagers. That's why we get toxicity. It's not because they're bad people, it's because they don't know what they're doing. And they're making it up as they go along. And those lucky times that we get to work for a great leader, well, they were lucky that they probably had a great leader before them, or they learned it somewhere else, or maybe they had a terrible leader and they committed to do the total opposite of everything. The point is, they learned it. Well, we have to teach leadership so that leaders can create environments in which all of us can work to our natural best. That produces trusting teams.
I'm real with myself, and I'm honest. Like, we're humans. Everybody isn't on all the time. We all have our struggles, our silent battles, as I like to call them. And instead of ignoring those silent battles, I let them out. But yes, I am a person that will tell you, make the world respect your greatness. I'm very firm on that. I'm a person that believes in myself. I'm a person that wants you, because I believe that's contagious. Like, even with social media, I feel like that's what really grew my platform, is people looked at my life, not because of my knowledge or whatever. It's like, Trent really believes this. Like, he really does. He really lives it. He doesn't just talk it or type it. He lives it, and that's a big thing for me. I can tell people a secret, right? Be transparent, like in a real way, because that creates connection. Now it's like, I can relate to that person. Growing up in the church, I'm gonna be real with you, Tom. Like, I would watch pastors and preachers, and I would be like, I could never be them. Because it was always perfection. I was like, I could never be them. So I just chose a different lifestyle. But now when I see people like say, you know what, I struggle with this. I struggle with addiction. Doesn't mean you're not awesome because you have addictions. Everybody has addictions. Everybody has battles. Some people just hide theirs better. So I relate more to that, because now it becomes attainable. Now you become relatable to me, and I can be like, wow, like, I can still go through this. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm a human. I'm gonna have my insecurities, my flaws, and I can actually grow from it. So I think we need more examples of the world of that. And that's what I just try to give people as much as I can.
So in the mid-1980s, a theologian named James Carsey wrote this little book called Finite and Infinite Games, in which he defines these two kinds of games. Finite games, which have known players, fixed rules, and agreed upon objectives. Football, right? There's always a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the objective is to win the game. And then there's infinite games. Infinite games are defined as known and unknown players. You don't necessarily know who all the other players are. The rules are changeable. You can play however you want. And the objective is to perpetuate the game, to stay in the game as long as possible. What I find so fascinating about this idea when I first learned about it is we are players in multiple infinite games every day of our lives. There's just no such thing as being the winner in your marriage, There's no such thing as winning global politics, and there's definitely no such thing as winning business. Business is an infinite game. And yet, when we listen to the language of too many leaders, they talk about being number one, being the best, and beating their competition. Based on what? There's no agreed upon objectives, there's no agreed upon timeframes. And so what ends up happening is you have people building organizations and leading with a finite mindset, playing to win, in a game where there's no such thing as winning. And when we play with a finite mindset in an infinite game, there's a few very predictable and consistent outcomes, amongst which include the decline of trust, the decline of cooperation, the decline of innovation, all of which contribute to the eventual demise of the organization itself. And so what I wrote about is what it means to lead with an infinite mindset, because we teach leadership as if it were a finite game. People start business with the goal of winning or being number one, and that's a problem because that's impossible. So what I wrote about in the infinite game is leading with an infinite mindset.
Why do you think it's important to move towards things that scare you?
Because on the other side of that is your growth. On the other side of that is strength. Even in going through pain, like, I look at pain as a positive thing. I'm not talking about putting yourself through pain on purpose. But it's just like working out. You know, the only way you're gonna get strength in your life is if you go through that hard moment, that tough moment. I wouldn't have a story if it wasn't for the sucky times in my life. I wouldn't have a story if it wasn't for me going through my depressed moments. So realize this, just because it's a chapter, it doesn't mean it's your whole story. So for me, I just understand that it's very important to embrace pain, to go through it, because I believe the foundation of all strength is pain.
All those things. You know, I think the question is, you know, when people say, how do I join the movement? How do I be a part of it? I always ask people the same thing, which is be the leader you wish you had. Become a student of leadership. Study it, read about it, watch things about it, practice it every day. You know, like be a parent, you know, like join the movement means I'm gonna take care of my team. Sometimes I'm in a leadership position and sometimes I'm not, and it doesn't matter. I'm gonna practice leadership. If I'm a salesperson, you know, if I work at the check-in counter of an airline, I'm going to take care of the people I work with. I'm going to take care of the customers as if they're my family. You know, like practice leadership, learn about it, study it, because I do these things because I recognize I'm just a piece of a jigsaw puzzle. You know, it's one of the reasons I wanted to come talk to you on camera. It's because, you know, when we do a jigsaw puzzle, the first thing you do is lean the picture, the box against the wall, and then you start putting the pieces together to build that picture. My job in this movement, I'm the guy who points at the box. Right? I'm the one who's pointing at the picture, maybe pointing out a couple of the pieces and where they go, but I need lots of people to join me. We need lots of people to join us, who say, I have a piece of the puzzle. I'm willing to lead this way. I'm willing to abandon Milton Friedman ideals and do something bigger, something more. Follow, you know, live with an infinite mindset, lead with an infinite mindset, and put their piece down and say, how can I help build that vision? We need the army. And so how people can engage in the movement is actually practicing all the stuff. More than anything else, that's what we need.